is not so wicked to give us another 4 years of Nana Akufo-Addo. Never. God, you are not so wicked to give us another 4 years of Nana Akufo-Addo. God, come and save us. Come and rescue us.
Fellow Ghanaians, in this election there are two options. One option is telling you, give him a chance, 4 more, to do more for you. And the other one is saying, give him a chance to come and correct his mistakes. Ade, correct mistakes, pa. No. You can't make that mistake and allow someone to come and correct his mistakes. Vote for Akufo-Addo for 4 more years. 4 more years of industrialization, 4 more years of free SHS, 4 more years of 1 district, 1 factory, 4 more years of 1 village, 1 dam, 4 more years of 1 constituency, 1 ambulance, 4 more to do more for you.
Legalize and regulate Okada business in order to make it safer.
Welcome to Good Evening Ghana. Thank you very much for your time. Sorry, I'm getting a sound distraction.
There's been a recent discussion about Okada.
Sorry, I was getting a little bit of sound distraction here in the studio, but we're okay now. We're good to go. Good evening. Tonight we have a big interview. The NDC had launched their manifesto weeks ago. We have conducted at least 2 programs about it. And sorry, I have to apologize for the late start of the program. I always find myself doing that. Very soon it will not happen again. It's technical hitches. Forgive me for that. And thank you for your time. Good evening again. This is Good Evening Ghana is live. We have an important interview tonight. The NDC launches manifesto, and we have already conducted at least 2 programs about the NDC's manifesto. Tonight, though, we host one of the key spokespersons of the party. The Honorable Sammy Gyamfi is the spokesperson of the party and a member of the National Executive. We're talking tonight about the NDC manifesto, about the fallouts of the manifesto as well, including education, infrastructure, health, etc. And 2 days ago, President John Dramani Mahama was in Kumasi, where he held consultations and had a big meeting with the NDC faithfuls at the Prempeh Assembly Hall. As a result of COVID-19, though, the rallies are still not occurring. We are yet to hear from the government whether there will be a full opening up of the system to allow political rallies to occur as we are used to during election periods. But so far, no sign of that yet. So party candidates, presidential candidates, especially the president and his main opponent, President John Dramani Mahama, have been going around the country and meeting people in smaller groups. Sometimes it gets to bigger groups, but that's what it is. So one such meeting was held in Kumasi 2 days ago, addressed by President John Dramani Mahama, and it was carried live on Metro TV. We will be talking to Sammy Gyamfi about that as well. So basically, we are talking to him about the state of affairs of the campaign and also about the manifesto of the NDC so that he may break it down. But over the last 2 days, there's been a big occurrence, big occurrence over the last 2 days. So it started with the story of President John Dramani Mahama indicating that he would, if he gets the nod to be president again, legalize the motorcycle transport business. We call it Okada. Initially, he was met with a lot of discontent from the MPP, but subsequently, the NDC teased that the MPP was adopting their manifesto because the NPP Minister for Transport was reported to have held consultations with the organizers of this business in a manner to sort of legalize them in the manner that President Mahama seemed to have been promising. During the NDC manifesto, President Mahama emphasized this as well. And then it became, a tug of war about who wants to legalize Okada and who doesn't want to legalize Okada. Now, President Mahama attended an interview 2 days ago on Class FM here in Accra. And by the time he finished the interview, video evidence shows that riders of Okada had massed up at the interview center here in Laboni. And they wanted to give President Mahama an escort back to wherever he was going in a massive sort of turnout of the Okada riders. Now, the big twist to it was yesterday. Alhaji Mahamadou Bawumia, His Excellency the Vice President, who was speaking at an event of Volkswagen, indicated that the NDC has, the MPP I should say, has absolutely no intentions of legalizing Okada. He said instead, the policy that he talked about during the manifesto of the MPP, which is that people can bring their cars and get new ones, etc., is what will avail to the Okada riders. We have put all of this, what I'm saying, all what I've just said, in a video montage so that you can see it and remember it. Let's have a look at it and come back to the studio and continue discussing. These set of books that I have placed here today, hopefully I can put it here so you can see it, the camera. Okay, it is to eulogize the author. The author of the book is an important person, and he's written a book about Ghana, so we'll be talking about him. After the montage, we'll have some time to talk about the author of a new book called Privileged Conversations, Adventures of an African Diplomat. We love it when people write books. Let's see the Okada film. This is a film about Okada. You can call it Okada Part 1 and 2. Here it is.
Legalize and regulate Okada business in order to make it safer and be an avenue for employment.
There's been a recent discussion about Okada in Ghana, this motorcycle transport. I think that in the context of what we are doing, we would rather encourage the Okada riders to come in and try to buy and lease these vehicles so that they can run businesses. They need to graduate from this risky and less safe Okada riding to a safer means of transportation. Their problem will be a lack of capital. But if you bring in new leasing policies and we have our national ID cards with our digital addresses and so on, we can have a credit system working and give you an option other than this risky. You don't want to finish graduate school and then you make a life in Okada riding. You can have a better option, and we will give you a better option. So yes, we will not legalize Okada business in Ghana. It may be a tough decision, but it is in the interest of Ghanaians. We have had discussions, but we will stick to our decision to provide a better alternative for the Okada riders. Let's give them opportunities to buy safer vehicles, to lease safer vehicles and pay over time. And I think it's a better option than what the alternative is.
Okay, just so that you understand it better, what Dr. Bawumia was saying, which is the alternative, he said it at the manifesto launch of the MPP, which is this arrangement that the MPP is promising that the international car companies who are putting up manufacturing sort of plants here, you can go to them with your old trotro and take a new car. Here's how he put it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have another major issue as far as the private sector is concerned, and that is access and the cost of finance. And government wants to support the private sector and the public by addressing this major bottleneck, addressing the access and the cost of finance. How are we going to do this? We have 4 initiatives that we are putting in place. First is the National Equipment Leasing Policy. We have a problem, generally, that every time we want to buy capital equipment, whether it's cars or photocopiers or whatever, we pay cash fully for them. But once we buy these vehicles, our maintenance culture is also very poor. And we are not able to maintain most of these vehicles or this equipment, whether it's in the hospitals or in the ministries. We have decided that to save a lot of money and to make sure that this equipment can be maintained, rather than outright purchases of these capital equipment, we will rather lease them and pay over time. Therefore, we can buy a lot more equipment. The maintenance is not going to be government's responsibility. The lessors will provide the maintenance, and it will save government a lot of money. So government may be able to say, oh, we'll buy 100 cars this year. But if you are leasing, you may be able to lease 500 cars with the same money that you have. So we'll be able to equip government will be able to equip our hospitals with all.
Okay, so you heard him. So this is the policy that he's talking about, and this is the policy that he's bringing to the Okada riders. But there was a news item today on Ghana Web where the Okada riders say that they actually don't want it. I cannot vouch for the story, but it was on Ghana Web sometime later in the program. I'll show you the link so you can look at it yourself. They said they don't actually want it. Tonight, that will form part of our conversation. Now, at the beginning of the program, you must have seen us put a video of an individual who was talking about 4 more for Nana. Now, beginning tonight, we're going to give you a number. I'll put the number up on our Facebook page tomorrow. You can make your own video in support of a candidate. You can make your own video in support of President John Dramani Mahama. You can make your own video in support of your member of parliament. You can make your own video in support of President Akufo-Addo or any of the candidates who are contesting for election 2020. You send the video to us by WhatsApp on the number that I'll provide to you on our Facebook page tomorrow. And then we will show it. So I'm going to show you an example of the video. This video was sent to us by Koy Suman. Mind you, Koy Suman is a member of the MPP. He works in the office of the president. He's counsel to the president. So he's an MPP man. There's no problem with that. If you're an NDC person or an MPP person and you want to make a personal video, so you take your phone, you go onto video and you say that my name is Kofi Mensah. I think that in this election you have to vote for John Dramani Mahama because John Mahama has done blah, 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 blah. My name is Esi Akunta. In this election, I believe that because of Dr. Baumia, you should vote for Nana Akufo-Addo. My name is etc. I want to vote for my member of parliament who has done so, so, and so. We want to put those videos together and then just send it to us. We'll put on Good Evening Ghana. You'll see yourself on the TV. You see yourself on our show. And you will see yourself on our Facebook page. This is an example of what happened. Let's see the Koy Suman and President Mahama again. Here it is.
God is not so wicked to give us another 4 years of Nana Akufo-Addo. Never. God, you are not so wicked to give us another 4 years of Nana Akufo-Addo. God, come and save us. Come and rescue us.
Fellow Ghanaians, in this election there are 2 options. One option is telling you, give him a chance, 4 more, to do more for you. And the other one is saying, give him a chance to come and correct his mistakes. Ade, correct mistakes, pa. No. You can't make that mistake and allow someone to come and correct his mistakes. Vote for Akufo-Addo for 4 more years. 4 more years of industrialization, 4 more years of free SHS, 4 more years of 1 district, 1 factory, 4 more years of 1 village, 1 dam, 4 more years of 1 constituency, 1 ambulance, 4 more to do more for you.
So that's Koy Suman's video. You can send us your own video and we will deal with it. The number, watch out on our Facebook page tomorrow Friday. The number will be on and then you can send it, your WhatsApp to that number. Okay. Now, let's eulogize this man, the author of this book. Now, his photograph is in there as a watercolor, but if I turn the back, you probably will see his photograph well. He's a very distinguished person. His name is Ambassador D.K. Osei. Many people may not know him, but Ambassador D.K. Osei was the backbone at the Kufuor Castle. He was the secretary to President J. Kufuor for the 8 years that they were in power. He's an old Achimotan and he's very proud of that. And he's also a great athlete. After leaving government in 2009, Ambassador D.K. Osei has been teaching at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy and has also been teaching at the Military Training Institute. He's a consummate diplomat, a foreign service official by career. He ended up as the highest ranking foreign office rank, which is ambassador. He has put a book together and it's entitled Privileged Conversations, and that means that a lot of the conversations he had around President Kufuor, when President Kufuor was president, within the context of diplomacy and politics, will be found in this book. I encourage everybody to get a copy, and the foreword is by John Agyekum Kufuor, former president of Ghana. We are delighted that retired politicians who played at the highest level, like Professor Kwame Ahoy, like Dr. Obeda Samoa, are writing books, and we are terribly happy that they are doing so. So this is Privileged Conversations. Again, in the spirit of Good Evening Ghana, we have a few more copies, and so if you can reach us, we will give you a copy. Okay, but we'll also show you where. So congratulations, Ambassador D.K. Osei, former secretary to President John Agyekum Kufuor. Now, it's time to get into the real business. After this break, Sammy Gyamfi, the Communications Director of the Opposition National Democratic Congress, is next. This is Good Evening Ghana and is live.
I'm Jessica Daniel, and I welcome you to Jamila Home.
Jamila Home is undeniably the most prestigious decor showroom in Ghana and Africa. We blend value with authority. My name is Nana Yawapo, and I welcome you to an undiluted royalty.
Our primary focus is centered on creating an executive and ambassadorial environment for your homes and offices. Our class of unique product ranges from luxurious chandeliers to valuable antique and high-quality furniture. My name is Wisdom Kojo Sabla. Welcome to Jamila Home.
Imagine driving into your own home was no longer a dream, but a reality. Imagine a luxury home designed so people like you can afford. But imagination is considered thoughtless by some, maybe because we tend to be carried away by our imaginations or left misguided. At Rehoboth Properties, we understand imagination differently. In order to imagine something, one must dream. The Night Bridge, Babinya, is designed for dreamers like you. Households with varying financial capacities, offering a total of 1,700 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments on sale at unbelievable prices, so you can achieve your dreams and create with us a better future for all.
Ghana for high sense domosibe bray. Niti tu anya pomudi adwumaye for corona yare baye. Woni ye diniye. Ye koso asrese. Abanse se odi egu akwam no. Ye nkoso na ye niso. Ye yie di entra. Se wo pe home appliances a efe na eche ne bo da form afe entwe power. Yo bia be kan bia oboa. Eno ane high sense. High sense niema aye direct from factory. Ya na ye nti yetimi ye promotion abrebia. High sense product abeto Ghana and one better Germany and America. Your fridge, air condition, TV, washing machine, gas cooker, blender, rice cooker, mobile phones, sound system, and even break home. You have 5 years manufacturer defect warranty. Mano, ya tete swama musave. Say yeah, no nose mask, no entry. High sense, everyday prices for everyday people.
Elections 2020 campaign time is here. Honorable, your people must know your mission. Your people must hear your message. Your people would vote. Appointed Time Printing is offering you a wide range of printing solutions. Design and print your quality campaign t-shirts, polo shirts, posters, banners, stickers, scarves, nose mask, aprons, campaign flags, billboards, and vehicle brandings at very competitive prices. And we deliver on time at your doorstep, free within Accra and Tema. We also offer studio services. Take pictures, create designs, and print for you. At appointed time, we partner you to victory. Order now. Contact us on 050-145-4165 or 050-145-4167. We are located at the old GNTC building near Kingsway, Accra. Follow us on social media at Appointed Time GH. Victory 2020. Go for it.
Imagine driving into your own home was no longer a dream, but a reality. Imagine a luxury home designed so people like you can afford. But imagination is considered thoughtless by some, maybe because we tend to be carried away by our imaginations or left misguided. At Rehoboth Properties, we understand imagination differently. In order to imagine something, one must dream. The Night Bridge, Babinya, is designed for dreamers like you. Households with varying financial capacities, offering a total of 1,700 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments on sale at unbelievable prices, so you can achieve your dreams and create with us a better future for all.
Fellow Ghanaians, your friend Nalan Ghani or Mesogoza Okafam the First, Chief of Fufule. Some are catching with that. Say, come from the whole Ghana to say, you have a double do. Yet it is near Sancha, what baby. Come from Yanko Promo, double do. Let's go for 40-liter bottle freezer free. I could have dispenser. I'm not born here 2999. Say, you have about 2499. 500 Ghana. Away! That's how free media 20-liter microwave.
Kafam, higher so you're not a shell.
Kafam, you're the home appliances, no, a chawampa. Even in Dabani, Kafam will lie. So good to Ghana 640-liter side-by-side fridge, well. Aha. Now, and also, I have 4999. To say, I have about 3999. 1,000 cities. Away!
Yes, welcome back to the show. Good evening, Sammy Gyamfi.
Good evening.
How has it been? Are you marching up to the task of the demands of campaign?
So far, so good.
Is this your first major political campaign as executive member of the party?
Yes, this is my first time of being an executive member of the NDC. And like I said, so far, so good. The rescue mission that we embarked upon a couple of months ago is on course and has received tremendous momentum since the People's Manifesto was launched last week, Monday. So we are rest assured of victory come 7th December 2020. As a matter of fact, the signs are very clear on the ground. Everywhere you go today in the country, you feel the tangible and palpable wind of change blowing. The vast majority of Ghanaians tell us when we go around the country campaigning that they are yearning for the return of John Dramani Mahama to restore this country back to the path of unity, national cohesion, development, and true progress. The vast majority of our people are saying that they are tired of the numerous failed promises of the dishonest Akufo-Addo government. They say they are tired of the unprecedented levels of nepotism and corruption they are witnessing under this government. They are tired of the alarming rates at which businesses and jobs are being collapsed by this vindictive government. They are tired of the divisiveness, the ethnocentrism, the bastardization of state institutions, and they are yearning for change. That is what, it is that change and transformation that the John and Jane Take stands for. And so far, so good. We are on track. The People's Manifesto has been well received and endorsed by many. And we, like I said, are rest assured of victory come 7th December 2020.
Are you a part of this philosophy of comparing records, which conversation was started by President Akufo-Addo and has received mixed feeling among political observers and among civil society organizations about how we should approach this election? Are you for comparing records or you are for something else?
I am for the campaign of issues and also the comparing of records relative to the two major political parties who have governed this country since 1992. Because I believe that it helps to deepen the culture of accountability in our democracy. Unfortunately, President Akufo-Addo is only paying lip service to the need for us to compare.
But when he talks about comparing records, he's not talking about the 1992 theme. He's talking about between himself and President Mahama. 4 years President Mahama, 4 years Akufo-Addo.
And that is a mere rhetoric. He doesn't believe in that. If he did, if he did believe in that, he would have accepted the challenge of President Mahama to have them, debate their respective records in office. He's run away from the challenge that was thrown by President Mahama for them to have a debate on their track record so that Ghanaians can appreciate who among these two leaders have delivered development for the people of this country.
Can we not appreciate it without a debate?
No, we can, but we can appreciate it better when you have the two leading personalities, who are seeking our mandate in this year's election on one platform, being viewed across the country by all Ghanaians. Answer questions about their stewardship, their tenure in office, and how they contributed to the development and progress of this country. President Akufo-Addo, I'm sorry, does not believe in that. We believe in that because we indeed, and in fact, have a superior and a towering record in all sectors of the nation, whether it is education, whether it is health, aviation, maritime, roads, water. The achievements of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama completely dwarf that of his counterparts from the MPP, President Akufo-Addo. And so we are ready any day, any time.
Can we talk
for that
about
debate.
some of them, some of
Of
those
course,
achievements?
take for example education, which is the bedrock of the development of any country. Whereas President Mahama can boast of 123 senior high school projects that his administration commenced, 46 of which were fully completed, finished, and handed over to the Akufo-Addo government. President Akufo-Addo cannot boast of one secondary school that he has constructed for this country to provide access to secondary education for the people of this country. He cannot boast of one.
President Mahama provided 46 new secondary
46 commenced 123.
The MPP doubt that, but they say that's a different.
No, they claim we did 29.
Yes, they say
and
29.
That is not true.
They say 29.
Because there is ample evidence to show that we handed over to them 46 senior high schools.
Completed.
But even if,
ready to
yes,
do.
But even if you use the figure of 29, President Akufo-Addo doesn't have one to his name, despite promising to build 350 secondary schools from scratch in 18 months. He promised us 350, he doesn't have one. With regards to infrastructure, educational infrastructure from the basic level to the secondary level, whereas President Mahama can boast of over 3,500 classroom blocks at the basic, JHS, secondary levels. President Akufo-Addo is only talking about 1,095 classroom blocks that he has completed, 779 of which was bequeathed to him by the Mahama administration. You understand? With regards to...
Okay, hold on, let me ask you. So you have been to a secondary school, I've been to a secondary school. So a record of 46 new additional secondary schools is definitely towards creating access to education. They say their record is educating 1.2 million young Ghanaians free, which is better.
No, we are talking about, we are comparing records.
Yes.
Yeah. And so let's get the context right.
So in education,
we are talking about infrastructure, okay? And that is a debate they have invited us to not too long ago. They held the town hall. No, we will talk about that. We'll talk about free SHS. Yeah. But first of all, let us establish the fact that if you look at the number of classroom blocks that the Mahama administration built from the basic to the secondary level, he has in excess of 3,500 to his name. President Akufo-Addo is only talking about 1,095. In terms of secondary schools, we have 46 brand new secondary schools which were completed with 80 others at different levels of completion.
Completed, but
had
they been inhabited?
Some
have schools started in there?
Yes, some.
Some schools have started.
The one at Kunfi, for example, we commissioned it, and
so
students were in there.
Kunfi Secondary School?
Yes, it's there, the community day senior high school there. And as we speak now, there are so many of these e-blocks that we completed which are full to capacity. If you go to Edujama in the Ashanti region, Offenswe Soso, you go to Banka, Agrek and Zema, so many parts of the country, you will see community day senior high schools constructed and completed by the ex-Wa Mahama regime, which are full to capacity, providing access to our secondary school children. In terms of tertiary education, President Mahama,
you have to address
President Mahama, I will address it.
Educating people and creating infrastructure.
No, I will address
Which
that.
one is
we just started the conversation.
Which one is access? That's the problem.
Hold on. Okay. There are two ways that you deal with access. First, through affordability, making education affordable.
So that's the free.
That's a free. And secondly, by providing infrastructure. Because if you make secondary school free and you see astronomical increments in enrollment without commensurate expansion in educational infrastructure, where would the children sit in school?
You do double track.
You may even have to do a quadruple track.
Yes, yes. Correct.
But for the Mahama E-blocks, the community-day senior high schools I'm talking about, we would have been practicing a quadruple track by now. So infrastructure is also very critical to the issue
Which
of
one
access.
should a leader choose first? Infrastructure to give access, or removing the inhibition of money to give access?
No, but commonsensically, you need schools before you can make education free.
Yes, you do.
You can. So one is fundamental. Okay, I'm not by this belittling the issue of affordability. That is equally important. You understand? But one must come first. You need to create that space, that access, so that when you eventually make it free, you can have classrooms, dormitories, and facilities.
But when you create classrooms and people cannot pay,
Paul,
they won't go to the school.
You invited me to have this discussion. Again, if you look at tertiary education, for example,
let's jump to
whereas President Mahama can boast of establishing the University of Environment and Sustainable Development with an amount of $55 million for the Sumenya campus in the eastern region, President Akufo-Addo cannot boast of a single university he has built. So clearly you look at education and
tertiary. Did President Mahama establish only one? I thought there were more than one.
No, one.
What about the one in the Volta region?
University of Health and Allied Sciences was established. The act was passed. The university was established under the Mills's administration.
Oh, Mills, okay.
But the Mahama administration undertook a lot of infrastructural developments at UHAS and also the University of Energy and Natural Resources in my hometown, Sunyane. And so we did a lot of works there. Okay, but if you are talking about the establishment of a brand new university, you can talk of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development, which this government acknowledges as one of the legacies of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So they don't have a university, they don't have a secondary school, okay, and yet they have had access to an unprecedented resource envelope of 374 billion in only 3.5 years. President Mahama did all these things in education with just a total resource envelope of 193 billion. They've had access to over 374 billion, and they cannot show us one secondary school they have built, despite promising to build 350 when elected. Now, let's address the issue of free.
Let me interrupt you. I'll come back to just before free. Get Fund published that 29 e-blocks were handed over. Where is the 46 coming from?
You can Google right now and check. Mahama completed only 46 e-blocks, Mind Your Online. The stories are attributed to the Minister for Education, Matthew Poku Prempeh. I think it's dated 7th March 2017. And it's a report on an interview he had with Asempa FM's Ekusisen, in which interview he conceded that indeed we bequeathed to them a total of 46 e-blocks. The handing over notes we left behind, and the final payment certificates, the contractors who worked on those projects raised, attest to the fact that indeed we completed 46 e-blocks. It is only recently.
I found it.
Hold on. So you've seen it, right?
I'll show you to the camera. Just get ready. Only 46. The NDC built only 46 community day schools, Opoku Prempeh. And the story is that only 46 out of 200 planned community day schools, community day senior high schools project initiated by the National Democratic Congress government has been completed. The Minister of Education, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has said in a radio interview at Accra.
So we're from the 29.
Okay,
now,
so that's the. Okay, can we say it?
Yeah.
Maybe I can send it over to them. It can.
Yeah.
He can. He's doing it. He's a great cameraman. He's going to put it on now.
So you see, Paul?
Yes.
Double talk.
Okay, so now you can see it. 46. And there's a story on graphic.com.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll forward it, though, to my people, and then they can put it on the screen. Well, so I'm sending it to them.
Can I continue?
Yes, please.
You see, this shows that double talk and hypocrisy, dishonesty, is in the DNA of the MPP. This whole talk about 29 e-blocks is an afterthought. It's a post facto attempt by the MPP to undermine the record of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in the area of education. They've already conceded and admitted the fact that we bequeathed to them 46 E-blocks.
Yes.
Now, what they have done is that they have come up with a new theory about what constitutes a completed project. And so what they are saying is that even though we completed the buildings, some of the buildings did not have some of the buildings did not have furniture. Some of the buildings did not have books in the library. Some didn't have computers in the ICT laboratories.
But what you are saying is that you completed.
Of course, that is laughable.
The infrastructure.
Because the furnishing of a school block, the provision of chairs, books for the library, computers for the ICT lab.
People are really watching.
Yes, Paul.
Somebody has sent me the voice that Opoku Prempeh had on Asempa FM.
Yes.
So I've sent it to them. If they put the voice ready, and then let's listen to the voice.
Okay.
Okay. Go on.
But if I can work, I have a lot to talk about today.
Go on.
Now, they have come up with this strange and bizarre theory that, oh yes, we completed 46 E-blocks, but some of the schools, they don't have chairs, others they don't have books in their libraries and computers in their ICT labs, and so the schools, even though were completed, were not really completed. And we have told them that, come on, we've seen the contracts. These projects were not turnkey projects. If you look at the project cycle, the furnishing of the classroom blocks is not part of the project cycle. It's a different matter. Yeah, it's not the responsibility of a contractor who builds a school to furnish it. And so the fact still remains that we built 46. I have even said that, granted that we built 29. For purposes of argument, how many have they built out of the 350 they promised? You understand? Good. Now, you look, for example...
SHS. You are going to talk about that.
First of all, we need to understand that free SHS is not the baby of the New Patriotic Party. That is a misconception that most Ghanaians have that needs to be clarified. Free SHS was conceived by the NDC-PNDC tradition during the drafting of the 1992 Constitution, and that is why it is provided for under Article 25B of the 1992 Constitution. Okay? That's correct. A constitution that therefore bears boycotted, because they said that they will not be part of a constitution writing process with market women and tomato sellers and so on. I am sure you are very privy to this, story. Now, again, it was the ex-Wa Mahama administration.
Just for academic purposes, when we say the forebears boycotted the constitution, what do we mean? Because the boycott was by the Ghana Bar Association.
Yes.
There was no NPP at the time.
No, when we are talking about the forebears, you're talking about, at least before 92, we knew of the UNC.
Yeah, the UNC people,
You knew of the PFP.
Yeah, but they were banned. They couldn't come to the...
They couldn't come. Yeah. But the Dankwa Buzia Dombo tradition has always been in existence since the 1950s till now.
Yes, but by the time...
So that is what I mean by their forebears.
It may not
was President Akufo-Addo part of the drafting of the 1992 Constitution?
Because the Ghana Bar Association said that they will not participate.
Exactly, so he wasn't part, and yet...
What Brew was a member of the Ghana Bar Association. He also wasn't part.
Cool. But I'm saying that...
So the Ghana Bar, that in proper academic context, is the Ghana Bar that boycotted it. There was no MPP, there was no Dankwa Buzia.
And there was no NDC. That is why I made reference to our tradition.
Yes. It turns out, though, that Peter Ajete was the president of the bar at the time. He later became a chairman of the MPP. So you can say
but
that.
But the fact still remains that we conceived it. It is our baby. Okay? Number two, the implementation of free SHS was commenced by the Mahama administration in the year 2015, where over 365,000 day students were provided with free SHS. Day students for the 2015-2016 academic year did not pay any school fees.
That's a matter of fact.
That's a matter of fact. And even UNESCO, this story is here. It says UNESCO praises Mahama for introducing free SHS policy. You have, this is dated 11 September 2017. Okay.
But you know the concern here, Sammy. This is all correct. This is correct.
I'm building a point. Okay. I'm building a point. You have, because a lot of people are not privy to this information. So let me explain. Now, it says Akufo-Addo government clears 30.1 million free SHS debt under NDC. Obviously, if we had not commenced it, they would not be claiming that.
Okay.
Let me
ask you the concern.
Now, Paul, hold on.
One minute on this one. So, can you tell us that if President Mahama had been elected in 2016 December,
we would have added the borders.
It wasn't in your manifesto of 2016. Your 2016 manifesto did not promise the expansion, if you like, of the free SHS.
Why promise something that we're already implementing? In fact, that UNESCO and candidate Akufo-Addo have lauded us for?
Your manifesto didn't say anything about it. And in the campaign of 2016, of which we have the videos, your side said free SHS was not possible.
No.
That's the matter of fact.
Hold on. It is not true. President Mahama at the IEA debate and during that campaign...
IEA debate was 2012. There was no IEA debate in 2016.
Even at that GBC debate, which he attended, and candidate Akufo-Addo failed to attend, he made a point that the NDC believed in progressive free secondary school education. That has always been...
But he said it wasn't possible until 20 years, of which we have the video.
President Mahama never said that. You are taking the position expressed by an individual member of the NDC as the official position of the party. President Mahama has always subscribed to free education.
It's not President Mahama's
the
position.
man commenced the implementation of free SHS.
So you say that if President Mahama had won the election in 2017,
we would have added the borders. You understand?
Free
now,
SHS.
President Akufo-Addo came, continued from where we have started, added the borders, a decision we have lauded because indeed it is
he also
laudable.
gave the day students food.
But the implementation has been shambolic. And that is what has led to the high attrition rate. Paul, in 2017, 361,000 students were enrolled under the free SHS policy. In 2017, September 2017 to be precise. Do you know the number of these students who sat for the WASSCE examination this year? 313,000 from our public schools. So there's been a high attrition rate. Over 47,000 of these students who were enrolled were not able to pass out. You know why? Because of the shambolic implementation.
They were not able to sit the exam.
They were not able to sit the exam.
But the exam was free. They didn't have to pay.
They have dropped out of schools. That's what I mean by high attrition rates.
How do you know that, Dave? Was there data to support why they are
not there? Of course. The data shows that 361,771 students were enrolled in September 2017 under free SHS. And the data shows that only 313,837 of them sat for this year's WASSCE
examination. Have you checked those who repeated? How many have repeated?
If you check still, the percentage cannot, make up for the huge gap of 47,000. You are having a lot of students drop out, number one, because of the haphazard placement of JHS students into secondary schools, where students are posted from far places. They go there, they are told that their boarding facilities are full, and their parents have to cough up money or borrow money to rent accommodation for these young lads, some 13, 14, 15 years, pay for their transportation and all that.
Where did this happen?
This is happening all across the country because under the current free SHS program or policy being implemented by the Akufo-Addo government, if you refuse your placement, you cannot benefit from the program. And so if you have Yes. And so if you hail from, say, Sunyane, and you are posted to Accra, and you go to your school, and you don't get access in the boarding facilities there, and you have to be a day student, it means that your parents will have to rent accommodation for you. And you know the cost of accommodation in this country. Really? If parents cannot afford that, you have not addressed your mind to that. You see, and that is why we have been talking about these.
Where parents are complaining that they have.
Oh, they have.
They have to rent space for their children.
They have. We've been across the country.
It's prevalent mostly where? In Greater Accra region?
All across the country. Didn't you see that embarrassing spectacle at the Independence Square over the computerized?
Yes, about the computer placement.
The placement system. And it's been so since 2017.
But that was rectified. The Independence Square issue was rectified.
Apart from that, this government has failed to invest in quality. This government has failed to expand infrastructure.
What does invest in quality mean? What have they not done?
Teacher motivation, learning materials, investing in infrastructure, and making sure that we do not reduce contact hours. Now, because of
they have increased contact hours.
It is not true.
Oh, Dr. Duchu told me that here 2 days ago.
I'm telling you that it is not true. Do your checks. That is what they will tell you. He sat in the confines of his air-conditioned office, designed a double-track policy, which actually is a lazy approach to solving a self-inflicted problem. And he's drawing conclusions based on the policy he drew in his office. I am telling you the reality in our schools today, that contact hours have reduced significantly. The facilities are not there. We are having double track. Parents are wasting a lot of money on classes, fees, and so on. And so we are not deriving the benefits that we should be deriving from the free SHS policy. And that is why, even though we have not gone into the People's Manifesto, let me just add it. That is why President Mahama has promised that when elected, he will make the free SHS policy better by addressing these teething challenges and continue its implementation. He's not going to cancel it. He's going to continue it. He's going to address the challenges. What challenges are we talking about?
Saying that he's not going to cancel the free SHS.
Because
is there a suspicion that people think that he will cancel it?
There is no suspicion. There is a propaganda out there. There is a deceptive propaganda out there by the New Patriotic Party and their leader, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, that President Mahama will cancel free SHS when elected. And that is why we always make the point that that is not the case. We are coming to improve it and continue it. And we've showed you the how. We are saying that we will add all private senior high schools to the free SHS policy for 3 reasons. One, because the students who attend these private schools are also Ghanaians. Their parents pay taxes. They themselves pay taxes. And therefore, they are entitled to benefit from such educational programs.
But they say that double track is for the poor. That's what the MPP
No, hold on. You want us to jumble so many things together. Let me address the issue of the private schools.
Private schools. I'd like you to listen to Educhum on that after you have spoken.
Yes.
Private schools.
So, for example, this year, you know that about 61,000 students who sat for the WASSCE examination are students from private schools who did not benefit from free SHS. 61,000. Paul, that is huge. In fact, the specific
what's
number
the total, though?
Is 61,900.
Okay, what's the total? So 62,000. So what's the total?
62,000.
So we can get
from public schools, 313,000, like I explained. But from private schools, over 62,000 students who didn't benefit from free SHS sat for WASSCE this year.
Yeah.
We are saying that that number is huge. Their parents are Ghanaians. They are also Ghanaians. They are entitled to benefit from free SHS, which is being funded with their taxes. That's number one. Number two, these private schools have facilities which have been certified by the Ghana Education Service as fit for purposes of secondary education, providing secondary education. They employ teachers, they employ administrative staff, cleaners, and a lot of workers. The decision by the Akufo-Addo government to exclude these private schools from the implementation of free SHS is collapsing these schools. And very soon, if that is not changed, the schools will collapse and they will have to lay off these workers. And that will further worsen the high unemployment problem confronting the country. The third reason why we must add the private schools is because of this double track problem. What led to the double track problem was an infrastructural deficit for 181,000 students for the 2018-2019 academic year. 181,000 students. And yet, Paul, we have 430 private schools in this country with a capacity to accommodate over 200,000 students. If we had included the private schools in the implementation of free SHS, there would not have been any need for double track. Not to talk of the dozens of e-blocks which have been left to rot by this MPP, who I now call the neglected, projects party.
Do you know that in terms of school quality in Ghana, at the senior secondary school level, public schools are in the lead over private schools?
Yes.
So that if the opportunity is provided for your ward or your brother, your younger brother, to go to Prempeh College in double track, you will prefer that he goes to a private school that is not at the standard of Prempeh College, because the GES has a rating card of these schools: first choice, second choice, third choice. And if you look at the first choice and second choice schools, the public schools lead. Even though in the JSS level, the private schools lead. The record in Ghana is that...
Not necessarily. That is a sweeping conclusion.
No, I'm looking at the GS rate card.
Because hold on.
So when you are choosing the schools...
Hold on.
There's a
there are
first
private
class.
senior high schools with better facilities than public senior high schools in this country. I went to KNUST. And at Ayudiasi, I know of a private school called Elite College, which is owned by a business friend called Hammer, a lecturer at KNUST. That facility has better facilities than so many public schools that I know of.
How many of such can
St. Andrews. There are a lot of
them.
them.
There are not a lot of them.
And so,
on the GS rate card, there are not a lot.
Of course, generally speaking, public schools are rated in terms of their facilities
at the secondary
and all
level.
But that is neither here nor there.
No, it's important.
If
for
you go to
Ghanaian.
the villages, hold on, if you go to the villages and you see young children there, you look at the secondary schools they attend, some without tables and chairs.
Yes, correct.
Some of them will relish an opportunity to attend some of these private schools that we are not utilizing. At the end of the day, it's a matter of choice for the school children. And so we cannot sit in the confines of the studios of Metro TV and decide for these students that no one would choose these schools.
If you were choosing,
yes.
No, but more people choose the public schools. Yeah.
So Dr.
Duchum also identified 3 categories of private schools. But
even among the public schools, more people will choose Wesley Girls than they will choose other schools.
Yes, correct.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that is neither here nor there. The most important thing is that we can think outside the box, harness
but double track is
the facilities
more people
of these,
to go to Wesley Girls.
It is a lazy approach
To allow more people to go to Wesley Girls.
No, but if double track is good, why has government indicated that it will be abolished in the next 5 years?
Because it's a temporary
measure. Why abolish
measure.
a good thing?
No, it's a temporary measure to allow more people to go to Wesley Girls in the meantime.
It is a lazy temporary measure. If this government had invested in infrastructure
from 2017 to 2018,
exactly,
they can invest in infrastructure and build.
Oh, Paul, we have done that before.
You had 2 terms, by the way.
No, that is what leadership is about. Let me remind you of something.
Oh, you can. So
hold on.
You come into government in January 2017.
We came into office in 2009. The Mills administration came into government in 2009. At the time we came into office, President Kufuor, if you would recall, had increased the duration of senior high school education from 3 years to 4 years.
Yeah.
And had failed to provide a single classroom block to accommodate the 4th year students. We had just 1 year to resolve that problem. The numbers involved was far higher. The number involved was far higher than the situation this government had in 2018 and 2019. What you mean is that the Form 1 double track. The Form 3 students were going to Form 4.
They were not leaving.
And there were no classroom blocks for them. What did we do? The Mills administration embarked on an emergency infrastructure drive. We expanded infrastructure in all existing senior high schools, such that by 2010, we had classroom blocks, dormitories to accommodate the 4-year students. We didn't do double track.
Did the intake reduce?
No.
You sure about that?
We admitted them.
No, I'm talking about the people who were coming
without
in.
resorting to double track. The shift system. Do you remember Anopani Area School?
Yeah, I remember that.
Who abolished it? It was the NDC. How did we abolish it? Through investments in infrastructure. This double track system that the MPP expects us to celebrate is an insult to our intelligence because it is a self-inflicted problem.
So you're saying that when they came in 2017, they should have begun building infrastructure for the next academic year.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you are taking 100,000 people more. 181,000 people.
Yes.
That's a huge number.
Hold on. No, not 100. The 181,000 was as at 2018-2019 academic year. Okay. Now,
but at least over 100,000 more were coming into secondary
I am saying
schools.
that if they had included the private schools, they would have had access to about 200,000 spaces. Apart from that, if they had completed
200,000.
Yes, because there are 430 private senior high schools in this country, and that is their capacity. Again, if they had
all have the
completed
facilities
the e-blocks they have abandoned, through an emergency infrastructure drive, they would have created spaces for them because every community day senior high school can accommodate not less than 1,500 students. So that is huge. They have borrowed in excess of 138 billion Ghana cedis in just 3.5 years. They've had access to a total resource envelope of over 374 billion. And yet they cannot show you and I a single secondary school they have built. And so this talk about double track and all that.
1.2 million people. President Mahama said it was 2 billion a year.
In total, they have spent 3.2 billion Ghana cedis on free SHS. Deduct that from the 140 billion.
But that means President Mahama's figures were wrong because he said they spent 2 billion a year. So if 2 billion a year,
President Mahama said 2 billion where?
Oh, I have the video, I'll show you. He said 2 billion. He said they are committing 2 billion to free SHS. President Mahama said
who is committing that?
The government.
This government, President Kufuor.
He said it's in 2018.
Pay enum. I'm not sure that's what he said. Maybe as at that time, that is how much they have spent on the policy. Because as we speak now, if you check the media review, government claims to have spent a total of 3.2 billion on free SHS.
Since 17.
Deduct that from the 140 billion they have borrowed and tell me how much is left. So, Paul, that is just on education, and we can talk about
finalize on education so we get to your manifesto.
But let's talk about the manifesto.
Ask you about football. Let's listen to Dr. Duchum for 5 minutes.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah, it's important so our viewers who didn't see it can get it clear. Please, let's hear what Dr. Duchum said about private schools and double track.
Go to Tier 3. Tier 3 is the school you go to when you have no choice.
That's interesting. What does that mean?
What it means is
Tier 3 private school.
Yes. What it means is that when you are cut off and you cannot go to a public school and you have no choices, that's the only option you have.
So give us, maybe not to name examples, but those who are doing the SS, the WAEC, that is the WASI, but are not demand driven because they are not that great. Okay.
So I can't mention names.
Yeah, no, we
but
shouldn't.
the bottom line is that those who actually were there, and they depended on the cutoff situation.
Oh, okay. So once you are cut off, you come to us.
You come to us.
And you pay.
You pay.
And the point you're making is that most of those who were cut off will be from deprived areas.
Yes.
You don't often go to Morning Star and be cut off.
No.
You don't go to Christ the King and be cut off.
No.
You don't go to Mofatru and be cut off.
No, it's
University
demand-driven.
Primary, Accra and Kumasi and be cut off.
Demand-driven.
University Primary from Kumasi will go to Prempeh College.
Yes, so the interesting thing is that there were a number of high-performing junior high schools that had, at the middle level, that had, or even the third tier, that had high schools. But their students don't move from junior high school to that high school. When they go to the junior high school there, they are preparing to go to all the schools that you mentioned.
Achimota.
Either Achimota, Augustine's, Infancy from Wesley Girls, or they may go to SOS. They may go to.
That's interesting.
They may go to all these other schools.
So you have a junior high that's great. They also have a senior high.
But they don't go there.
But because the junior high is good, when they are done, they go. They escape.
They escape. And then those who went to the public schools and were cut off then come to their senior high school.
Like La Wireless 1 and 2.
Yes. So what it means is this. We created a system in this country where the poor was punished.
The poor?
Yes.
Explain.
Because you went to a school where nobody could help you with the BECE, prep you to do well, and because you didn't do well, you had to pay your way in a private school.
Oh, the private schools that you go there by option.
You go there because you don't have a choice.
Compulsorily. Yeah.
Yes, because you don't have a choice. If you don't go to
and you go there, you pay.
You pay.
And are your school fees higher than the one in, say, Accra Academy?
No. Most of them, the high school, the fees were even lower. I had one.
Okay, but you pay.
Yes, you pay, but you pay something small. And invariably, these are the poorest of the poor.
And the standards at those schools were not high?
No, go to WAEC and look at the results from those schools. So when they are...
So what then did the free SHS do? How did they correct this thing?
Very good. What the free SHS did was that no more cutoff. And therefore, it is only those, the few, maybe 10,000 that fails both English and math that have to go and do a reset and come back. But we are not going to exclude you from public schools any longer.
So you just have to go and do reset?
So when
you say no cutoff,
you see,
when 450 people take the exam,
and we only bring in,
so you tell GA under your regime, 450 take the, like today, you said what, 500,000 people took, 531,000 took the exam. You're going to take all of them.
You see, when that number comes in, what is going to happen is that a few may go to private.
Which kind of private?
No.
The demand-driven.
Demand-driven.
Okay,
very
so they are
few
gone.
Of them
okay.
Go. The majority,
so 5% are gone.
Yeah. Majority of the students all wants to go to top tier schools, right? They select category A, category B, category C, whatever level. But everybody based on their aggregate gets to be assigned to a school. No cutoff. Maybe the small number, about 2 or 3%, that do not pass both English and mathematics, then go back. So instead of kicking out about 15 to 20% who will not have a choice but to go to a private school, now you are only saying about 2% should go and do a reset. So you see, you have about 15% who could not have gotten access to senior high schools in this country, who, because we have eliminated cutoff, then get to go. So that huge number, that then comes to add up to those who could have gone in the first place. You see,
so what happens to the private schools? Who goes there now?
So the question now is that if you're top tier, tier 1 in my definition, and tier 2,
demand-driven, you are fine.
You are fine.
Okay, but if you are not that and you are the
if you are not that at the lowest,
who was waiting for the cutoff?
Then no more cutoff. So that is why they are saying we are destroying their business, but we are rescuing the poor. So you cannot do free senior high school and cut some students off and say you will never go to a public school in your life. And you are the ones who went to our public schools, whilst others were in private schools. But the moment you get to junior high school, you get to go back to a private school and pay for it. And those who were in private school, by the virtue of the fact that they were prepped well, then take the public schools
at the taxpayer school. Okay, so you go to the taxpayer school at JSS. You don't qualify to go to the taxpayer school at SSS. You don't benefit from that.
No.
Even though you opted for the taxpayer school.
Yes.
The one who went to a private school and paid his fees to a private person, did not pay the fees to the taxpayer's chest, now gets to enjoy what the taxpayers' money is doing at Wesley Girls, at Achimota, at Presec, at Accra Academy. No, not Accra Academy. At Presec, at Adisa, the Elephant Spin.
Hey, Accra Academy is one of those who blow. So bottom line is,
I get the point. So you are rescuing the poor.
Basically, and then you see, they were hit twice. The very poor of the poor who get good aggregates and get placed at a top performing school, 100,000 of them also didn't get to go because they couldn't pay.
Oh, there were those?
Yes.
That even though you went to a not so great private school, you are so brilliant that you got placed in Accra Academy. But you can't
pay.
You can't pay the fees.
You can't pay. So 100,000 every year, 33%
of students. That's what the president meant by the 100,000.
Yes.
Who have they have a letter from Presec.
Yes.
They don't show up.
They don't show up.
Oh, what that's sad.
Yes. Because so in the north,
really that was happening as a matter of fact.
Oh yes, we did the analysis. The minister led the process.
Really?
Yeah.
So somebody gets admission to Prempeh College.
Yes, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh led us into the whole analysis. And my brother, after you go through that analysis, you come back fiercely determined that we cannot continue to do what we've done to the poor in this country.
If I were there, I would agree that you can't do that.
Because you see, in the northern regions of Ghana, our data showed that only 9% did not go when they get acceptance letter. In the south, it was 33%.
They don't go.
They don't go.
Because they can't afford whatever fees are being charged.
They can't afford.
So what happens to those children? They go to another school?
Where, which school? Because those are the ones, the 100,000 cannot go to a private school. They can't afford it. So those who were cut off, then are the ones who, if the parent, because they were told that you can't go at all. So parents begin to say, oh, my child cannot go to school. Let me see what I can do. And some of the private school operators were very generous. They will give them some concessions. And I ran a school like that. In my constituency, it was called Lakeview Senior High School. Now I've given it to the government. Beautiful school, sat on 10 acres of land. I gave it to them because I set it up when I was in the US and I paid the fees of the majority of the students. They couldn't afford, but they were cut off. They could not go to Jase Pramso.
Wow.
And the only place they could go was Lakeview Senior High School. And I picked them from the villages in Bosomtwe constituency and brought them to my school, fed them. Very few people could contribute.
And you did this whilst you were staying in America?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because those children were cut off. They didn't qualify.
Oh, so you've been interested in this education thing even when you were in America?
Yeah.
Oh, you had a school in Bosomtwe?
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Now I'm giving it to the government, so they name it after me. So it's called Sedichum Senior High School.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. You have a comment on that?
Oh, not much, because I don't get the head and tail of what the point he's making. I mean, double track is a problem. I mean, let's not argue over that. The mere fact that government has indicated that it will scrap double track in 7 years, now remaining 5 years, means that it is not the ideal. And so you cannot be celebrating something, a system you yourself, recognizes as a problem, as an achievement. But I don't get that.
It's a measure, it's not a negative.
I am saying that we could have avoided this lazy measure.
Okay.
If we had invested in infrastructure and if we had included private senior high schools in the implementation of free SHS.
Okay.
And I think that those watching us are discerning and they can appreciate that fact. But Paul, quickly, if I can just run you through the highlights of the People's Manifesto, which are resonating with the people of this country everywhere you go today, because it addresses their needs and aspirations. First of all, is the issue of jobs, what we've christened Ejumapa. The main thrust of this People's Manifesto is jobs. That is what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is coming to deliver for the people of this country. And so the theme of the manifesto is jobs and prosperity for all. And it is our plan to create a minimum of 1 million permanent sustainable jobs with decent wages in the next 4 years when elected. That is what we have described.
Has John Mahama got a record in that area?
Exactly.
What's the record?
I mean, we created thousands of jobs within our first 4 years. For example, under the Youth in Agric program alone, we created over 81,000 jobs when we were in office.
Youth in Agric?
Yes, 81,150. The Free Zones Authority created 16,372 jobs from January 2013 to June 2015. The National Vocational Training Institute, NVTI, integrated community centers for employable skills and opportunities industrialization centers, created over 21,802. The Graduate Business Support Scheme run by the Ministry of Employment also created over 2,000 jobs. The Rural Enterprise Project created over 21,045 jobs. And I can go on and on. We created thousands of jobs. The schools we built, the hospitals we built. Who are those working in those facilities today? So we created sustainable, dignifying, permanent jobs with decent wages. But we did not completely deal with the problem of unemployment. That is why President Mahama is saying that we could have done better and we can do better, and is promising to do better by creating a minimum of 1 million jobs, a minimum of 250,000 jobs per annum, over 4 years, minimum 1 million, through the private sector and the public sector, in the private sector and the public sector, for the teeming unemployed youth and people of this country. And that is what we have
look at your record. Do you sometimes ask, why were you voted out? Because the record is very impressive.
That is not the issue here. Let's talk about Ejumapa. Ghanaians know why we were voted out. I mean, we can have a discussion on that any day you choose. But today is the day for our manifesto. So let's have that. Let's restrict the discussion to that. So we are talking about creating 1 million jobs. We have done the analysis and we know where these jobs are going to come from. And we've indicated that it will be a mixture of private sector jobs and public sector jobs, like I said.
So 1 million,
if you look at this,
1 million over
this
4
what
years.
I have here. Yes.
1 million over 4 years.
In 2021 alone, this is the analysis we have done in the private sector, jobs that will be created. And so we are saying that in infrastructure, through the big push
But how many
policy,
were created in the first Mahama administration? You said about how
thousands. I don't
about
offer.
100,000.
No more, far more. Even under Youth Employment Authority alone, as at 7th January 2017, we had 100,000 people working there. Youth in Agric, 81,150. And I can give you other thousands of jobs.
You are going to expand that process.
It's not about expanding. We are introducing novel initiatives to create jobs both in the private sector and the public sector.
Cannot run as an original candidate. Neither can President Akufo. None of them can run as an original candidate.
Are we running away from our record? I've already demonstrated to you that we have that record of, relative to job creation here.
Okay.
And you don't dispute that.
No, I don't.
So let me also share with you what the future holds for Ghanaians under a future NDC Mahama government.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So in the private sector, we are projecting to create 90,000 jobs through the big push. In 2021 alone, agriculture and agribusinesses, 35,000 jobs. Light manufacturing, that is apparels, accessories, good processing, 30,000 jobs. Pharmaceuticals, we have a history of supporting the pharmaceutical industry. With stimulus, we intend to increase that under the next NDC Mahama government, God willingly, and create 21,000 jobs through that. Tree crops that share cashew, cocoa, rubber, palm oil, processing, 11,000 jobs. Furniture and furnishing, 10,400. We've done the analysis, and we know that in our first year alone, we can create 255,000 jobs in the private sector.
Okay, so that's jobs.
Sustainable jobs, permanent jobs with decent wages.
Yeah.
Now, in the public sector too, we've done what is called HR gap analysis to identify vacancies in the public sector which needs to be filled to ensure productivity and efficiency in our public sector. And here again, I can tell you that we have identified over 367,838 vacancies in the public sector, which President Mahama is committed to filling as we grow the economy. In the
there, you don't
Ghana
have any
Police
record
Service,
because you couldn't employ people under the IMF program.
Who told you that?
Under the IMF program, you couldn't employ public sector.
No, under the IMF program, the education sector, the health sector were exempted.
So you could employ.
We employed over 40,000 teachers between 2013 to 2016. So that don't buy that lie, being peddled.
No, Tetepe said that
no,
there's an embargo
the education
on employment.
Sector, no,
he told Parliament.
This was not called an embargo. It was called a net hiring freeze. That is what it means.
Okay.
And the education and health sector were excluded.
Exempted, yeah.
Okay. And so we employed thousands of nurses. We employed thousands of policemen. And in fact, as and when people left the public service, we filled those gaps. We employed a lot of policemen during our time, a lot of immigration officers during our time. And so we also have a record relative to public sector employment. And for example, police service.
So you'll be adding to the public sector, that's what it means.
Exactly, because we've identified the gaps. The UN stipulates that we are supposed to have a ratio, a police to citizen ratio of 1 police is to 450 citizens. Currently, our standard, 1 policeman is to 808. And so to break that gap, you need to employ minimum 35,020 policemen. And we are committed to filling that progressively as we expand the economy. We've identified through our analysis of the MS data, MS is the Educational Management Information System, about 98,650 gaps, which we are also committed to filling. Ghana Health Service, 76,795. Ghana Fire Service, 30,136. Ghana Immigration Service, 3,522, and so on. In total, 367. And we've done the costings. We know how much it will cost, and we have identified the sources of funding. So we are not just talking. When we talk about jobs,
what are some of the sources of funding you can share with us?
Reduce the size of government and cut down on waste and profligacy. For example,
that's vague. That doesn't mean anything.
No, we've done the specifics.
Reduce the size
let me give you the specifics.
But cut down
if we reduce the number of ministers by,
doesn't mean anything.
So let me explain to you what that means. If we reduce the number of ministers by 40, we've projected to save minimum 63.4 million Ghana cedis in 4 years. If we reduce the number of presidential staffers,
the number of ministers by 40.
Yes.
So you're bringing it from 120.
Non-performing 125 ministers.
So you're coming to 80.
63.4. Yes.
Okay.
If we reduce the number of presidential staffers.
So what have you added in 63? Their salaries?
I mean, they have salaries. They are entitled to, a 4x4 vehicle. They are entitled to a saloon car. They are per diems and allowances. They have drivers and all that. They have stewards. They live in government bungalows. We spend on them and all that. We've done the analysis, and we project to save this nation 63.4 million Ghana cedis.
That's kind of debatable, but it's okay.
You've not seen the details.
Okay.
Maybe you should
because
ask for that before you debate it.
Having saloon car and all of that.
No, before you debate. All ministers have saloon cars.
You said they have 4x4 and saloon cars.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
All ministers. That's
every
what
minister has
every
2 cars.
Yes.
Deputy minister has 2 cars.
I don't know of deputy minister, but I know of ministers.
Okay.
Okay. Now, for presidential staffers, if we cut down the number from over 1,000 by just 200, we are projecting to save this nation 186 million.
Based on their salary?
Yes.
If we know their salary?
Of course.
Okay.
If we employ technology, and we are proposing to employ a technology called e-proceed system for our tax administration, we are hoping to increase tax mobilization through the expansion of the tax nest, ensuring strict compliance with our tax laws, ensuring efficiency in tax mobilization. We project to increase internally generated funds by 3 billion Ghana cedis. And we've done the analysis.
Do you have a record here? This is President Mahama again.
We've done that. We will talk about the record. We'll talk about the record.
No, we need to know.
Again, with regards to NABCO beneficiaries, President Mahama has indicated that we will not get rid of them. We'll bring permanence to NABCO. Every NABCO beneficiary will have a permanent job in the public sector under the next NDC Mahama government. Again, we have also indicated...
How do you do that?
Some of them already have the requisite credentials and academic qualifications to be integrated in the public sector. And I've shown you that we have done the analysis.
But if they do, they will be naturally integrated. Are they being told?
They were given a 3-year contract.
Yes.
Which will lapse in the next 6 months.
Yes.
We are saying that...
It doesn't mean all of them will leave.
But their contract will lapse. That's what it means.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
the obligation
after
of the
3
government
years,
to keep them in will lapse.
Of course.
Yes,
and they will have to find jobs for themselves.
Yes, but some of them may find jobs there.
But here is the difference. President Mahama is saying that he will not leave them to their own fate. He's going to train those who require further training and ensure that progressively
so you are building on APCO.
Them in the public sector.
You are building on APCO.
Of course, we are integrating them into the public sector because we believe that they deserve permanent, sustainable jobs.
You are building on NABCO, which is an idea.
Governance is a continuum.
Yes, but when you were in power, you saw the unemployed graduates. You couldn't think NABCO. You couldn't think it. But that's a matter of fact.
Under the Youth Employment
That's a matter
Agency.
of fact. You couldn't think NABCO.
Hold on.
Somebody thinks NABCO and you come and say, I'll keep them permanently. When you don't, you couldn't think in 8 years, you couldn't think NABCO.
That is neither here nor there.
Okay.
Under Youth under the Youth Employment Agency alone, we had over 100,000 people working there.
Yes, that's true.
As at December 2016.
That's correct.
What is the difference between that and NAPCO?
So why don't you go back to that? That's yours.
No, but what do we do with them?
What
Should we say that
what?
because they were engaged or contracted by the Akufo-Addo government, we will
I'm saying that
leave them to their own fate, we will neglect them? Is that what you expect us to do?
Nation Builders Corps. Let's grab the unemployed graduates, train them in various sectors, give them an allowance. Let's keep them for 3 years of their training, and after that, we see what happens. You say you would come and keep them permanently.
Which is different from what the Akufo-Addo government is doing.
Something you couldn't think in 8 years. Such a brilliant policy. You couldn't think it in 8 years. Unemployed graduates were mushrooming all over the country.
What you're doing is just mischief. It's just mischief.
No, I'm asking you to address the
that is what I'm addressing.
The NAPCO novelty.
Hold on.
To address the NAPCO novelty and give credit to it.
We are not promising to implement a NAPCO-like employment system because we don't believe that what the teeming unemployed youth of this country need are ad hoc temporary jobs.
Which you couldn't give them.
We gave them hundreds of them, hundred thousands of them. I've spoken about the number of people we engage under youth employment. Speak to Zoom Lion, one of the owners of this station. Under the sanitation model alone, he had over 60,000 people working. I've spoken about youth in Agric. We had over 81,150 working.
Was that for graduates?
We established over...
Was that for graduates?
It included some graduates.
NAPCO is graduates only.
Yes, and I'm giving you, if you want me to show you, give you data on graduate employment we created, I can take you through that. You understand? So that is there. Let's not be mischievous about this issue at all, Paul.
All right.
Again, we've also spoken about skill development, which is critical to dealing with the high unemployment problem confronting this country. That is why we've spoken about the National Apprenticeship Program, under which any Ghanaian, literate or illiterate, desirous of learning a craft, will be enrolled in this program, trained, and given monthly stipends to support their transportation, accommodation, feeding, and so on. And when they successfully complete the training program, set up with the necessary toolkits so that they can also create their own businesses and employ others. But more importantly, Paul, are the tax cuts that we are providing the private sector and businesses in this country to create an enabling environment, for the needed jobs to be created. And that is one thing that I find very exciting in this People's Manifesto. President Mahama is saying that when elected, he will scrap corporate income tax for small businesses. They are not going to pay corporate income tax. Currently, they pay 25% corporate income tax. It's going to be free under the Mahama administration. Medium-scale businesses will have a reduction in corporate income tax from 25% to 15%. That's those who already exist. And newly incorporated medium-scale businesses will be given a 2-year corporate income tax holiday. Again, we have also indicated that we will reduce the 5% increment in VAT that this government has introduced through the back door, to reduce the cost of doing business and ensure that the prices of commodities on the market come down to provide some respite to Ghanaians and businesses. The idea is to reduce the cost of doing businesses because currently, I'm sure you know, that we have dropped on the World Bank's ease of doing business index as a result of high tax payments under the Akufo-Addo government. That is a result.
High tax for business
payments.
The taxes are higher today.
Yes. Even though this government promised
new taxes?
Of course, ESLA has been increased by 27%. VAT has been increased by 5%. I can give you so many taxes that this government has introduced, but we don't have time for that. And so we don't have that congenial environment. That is why Farm Milk is laying off workers. The breweries companies are complaining. AGI is complaining and all that. By reducing these taxes, they will be able to plow back their profits into their businesses, expand and employ more people. In addition to that, President Mahama is saying that under the next NDC Mahama government, God willingly, any commercial vehicle which is imported into this country and any vehicle or equipment imported into this country, either for a commercial purpose or an agricultural or industrial purpose, will not attract import duties. So we are giving free import duty on all commercial vehicles. If you are bringing in a vehicle,
so I'm bringing a vehicle to do a commercial trotro business.
For trotro, for a bus, business,
taxi,
or all those vehicles,
taxi included,
all those vehicles, you are not going to pay import duty, because we.
How would you check that people who say they bought this car for taxi?
Normally, the ministry comes up with a practice manual for such policies. So all those details will be contained in the practice manual.
So if I import
that
it
is
for
our
commercial
commitment.
business and I change my mind and I use it privately, will that?
And I'm saying that those modalities will be clearly indicated in the practice manual.
Yeah.
So we are doing this to reduce the cost of businesses because, Paul, it is not fair that someone borrows money from a bank, okay, brings in a commercial vehicle to contribute to nation building, because when they operate, they buy fuel, they pay taxes on that, they help commuters who don't have vehicles of their own, they transport them from place to place and so on. Now, when they bring these vehicles, we slap outrageous import duties on these vehicles. Some of them have to go to the bank, borrow money to pay for that. Those who are unable to pay for that get their vehicles seized by government and auctioned, you know, sometimes even to politicians and so on. We are saying that that is not the way to go. We are going to scrap these import duties to reduce the cost of doing business in health. We've spoken about the free primary health care policy, which is novel, which will ensure that any Ghanaian who visits a district hospital, a clinic, a polyclinic, a health center, or a CHIP compound under the next NDC Mahama government will be treated for free whether or not he or she has an NHIS card. And this is in line with our vision of ensuring universal health coverage for this country. Because currently, the data shows that just about 11 million Ghanaians have NHIS cards. You need to pay for the card and you need to pay annual renewal fees. Okay, and so you have millions of people who don't have it. If you take out children and the aged who are exempted, you still have in excess of 50 million people without the cards. Even with those who have the cards, sometimes renewal is a problem. And the card also doesn't cover a lot of ailments. Okay, and so free primary healthcare will ensure that at the primary healthcare level, district hospital down to the CHIP compound, any Ghanaian who visits a health center will be treated for free. And that includes hypertension, diabetes, injuries, headache, malaria, typhoid, and so on and so forth. Again, President Mahama, because he cares for you, because he cares for the people of this country, has pledged that when elected, he will establish a cancer and kidney disease trust fund to support Ghanaians with such conditions, because he knows the difficulties some of them go through to, and pay for their medication and all that. And so that is one thing we are doing.
Cancer and kidney disease trust fund.
Yes, trust fund. We are also going to expand health infrastructure, ensure that district without district hospitals are provided with one, upgrade regional hospitals into teaching hospitals.
Do you have a record in that?
Of course. We built 13 district hospitals when we were in government, over 22 polyclinics. We can boast of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, the Upper West Regional Hospital, the rehabilitation of the Upper East Regional Hospital. We can boast of the University of Ghana Medical Center, 617 bed, the best in West Africa. We can boast of institutional hospitals like the Bank Hospital, the Maritime Hospital, and all that. Okay, rather, it is the Akufo-Addo government, your good friend, who cannot boast of a single district hospital.
I like the way
or a regional hospital.
I like the way you're animated about the record in health.
Of course.
I hope you will be animated in the same way in the record in other things.
Oh, sure. When we get there, you can ask. Again, in education, already I've spoken about basic education, I've spoken about SHS. What I need to add is that is the Chimpe promise for tertiary students.
The paying of the fees for 2021.
The paying of 50% of the fees of all students in tertiary institutions. Here we are talking about universities, polytechnics, now technical universities, colleges of education, nursing trainings, institutions, and all that. We've done the analysis. It should cost us something in the region of 400 million Ghana cedis, because we don't just talk. Yes, in total, for the 2018-2019 academic year, we have about 400,000 students in all public tertiary institutions. 400,000. The figure is a little over 400,000, around 480.
And their total fees?
Averagely is 2,000 Ghana cedis.
To the university?
Some pay less, some pay a little higher than that. Yes.
So if you're going to the University of Ghana, you're...
So overall, you have something around 800 million. And we are paying 50% of that for the 2020-2021 academic year. And this is not just for the new entrants. We are paying for level 100, level 200, level 300, level 400, because we appreciate the financial difficulties that parents find themselves in as a result of the debilitating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so that is one thing we are going to do. Again, we have also pledged to introduce free technical and vocational education at the secondary and tertiary levels. So currently at the secondary level, you have just 50 TVET institutions under GES benefiting from free SHS. There are 150 other TVET institutions, MVTI, some under the Ministry of Labor and Employment, other agencies who are not benefiting from that. We will add that and ensure that at the secondary level, there is free TVET. Also at the tertiary level, for those in technical universities, you know, what used to be called polytechnics, any student there offering or pursuing a technical or vocational course will enjoy free TVET. They will not pay any school fees. And it is part of the vision of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. This policy is part of his vision to develop our human resource base, okay, towards addressing the problem of high unemployment. It is key. All countries who have succeeded in creating employment for their people have done so by investing in their human resource base through technical and vocational education, to be precise. And that is why we are, promising this as well. Then is the reforms. First of all, let me talk about professional legal education. I know you'll be excited about that.
Yeah.
I've not seen you comment as yet.
For the expansion?
Not just the expansion. You know, the MPP promised to do what, expand infrastructure at the at the professional legal education level. Yeah. Which clearly shows that they don't understand the problem on our hands. And I know you understand better. If they had consulted you.
So what is your
What we are going to do is to create a college of legal education and training to accredit certified law faculties in the country.
That's a better option.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that endorsement. President Akufo-Addo should be watching you this evening.
That's certainly a better option.
To accredit certified law faculties,
so that the University of Ghana
to run the professional law course, to run the professional law course, yes, so that successful graduates can sit for a national bar exam organized by the General Legal Council. Okay.
No, you do. You still need a bar exam.
No, the faculties will run the professional law course. So you have your LLB, then you get a professional, because currently the Ghana School of Law, now the Ghana School of Law has monopoly over the professional law course. They are the only institution running the professional law course. So if I go to a law undergrad training at law which has not been accredited, what do I do when I finish? So you must find an accredited school and
so that means you're going to reduce the number of schools that are running the LLB.
No, you will have to meet a certain standard, because even though we appreciate
coming from the NDC, that's impressive. Okay, because it was the NDC era that brought this many schools granting the LLB. And some of the scholars were very worried about it. But this was the NDC era.
Exactly.
So
and
we still maintain the standards. Now that we should get the standards for a few LLB schools who can also run the professional program. That's excellent. So that's very good. And
what we did with even LLB was also good as well, because we expanded that. We gave a lot more faculties to do that.
Do you have teachers?
No, today Cape Coast has a law faculty. KNUST. At first it used to be just Legon. Okay. Now you have even CAF. You have
but where
so many universities
teachers who are teaching law are required to have a PhD these
so
days.
The bottom line is that certified, the law faculties will have to meet a certain minimum standard to be certified and accredited.
Absolutely, that's better.
Okay, and then they can run the professional law course.
If only 5 of them can meet it, so be it.
After your LLB, you can undertake the professional law course, the PLC, when you are successful and you want to go into practice. Because not everybody who takes the professional law course wants to necessarily want to go into practice. Or has to understand? Or has to go to practice. If you want to go into legal practice, then you sit for a bar examination, like it's done in other countries.
You don't want to go into legal practice.
This is what the People's Manifesto is about.
If you don't want to go into practice, you go and be a solicitor.
Exactly. We need a lot of solicitors in this country, in the public service and all that. That is what the People's Manifesto is all about. Introducing the different dimensions of legal practice. Exactly. The barrister and the solicitor. Exactly. Now, Paul, again, under the student loan facility, which is a very important program. We intend, to scrap the requirement for guarantors for student loan applicants. Number 2,
that's MPP have already said.
We are introducing, now listen to what the MPP hasn't said. We are introducing the student loan plus. Student loan plus. Introduced in 2016 and this government has abolished.
Okay.
Where students who get admission into tertiary institutions can use the admission letters, even before they enter those institutions, to secure a student loan for the payment of their admission fees and school fees. So you get an admission into a tertiary institution, you don't know where your admission fees or school fees will come from. You can use your admission letter, guarantee for a student loan, and pay for that. It is only President Mahama who is offering
without a guarantor.
Without a guarantor. Apart from that, we are saying we are going to increase the student loan. The last time the student loan was increased, it was in 2016 when President Mahama increased it to 2,600. In the last 4 years, President Akufo-Addo has not increased it by 1 peso. Even with the 1,600, he's not paying it, he's not up to date. This is the first time in the history of this country where we are seeing the student loan being in arrears sometimes for 2 semesters. We are saying that we are going to increase it and ensure a timely payment of student loan. Now, we've spoken about scrapping that obnoxious nation-wrecking law which President Akufo-Addo has introduced, banning the importation of home-use second-hand vehicles into this country. We are saying that that law will collapse the local automobile industry.
This is suspended, by the way, but go on.
What do they mean by suspension? We are not talking about suspension. We are talking about a total abrogation of the law, a total repeal of the law. What President Akufo-Addo, this new position he has taken, doesn't have any, place in the law. You've passed the law, you've signed the law into place already. When you were considering the passage of the law, the car sprayers, the car dealers, the mechanics, Aswami Magazine, Abu Sokai, came to you. They told you that this law is a bad law which will cripple their businesses. You didn't listen to them. You went ahead with the passage of the law. You signed the bill into law now, and you are now talking about deferring the implementation of the law. What that simply means is that the law is not off the table. There is a possibility for implementation to be reintroduced. Because if you suspend something, you have not repealed it. It still exists. You understand? President Mahama is promising something totally different. He is saying that he will completely repeal the law from our legal books because it is a bad law. It will destroy a lot of businesses if it is not scrapped. I don't see why, President Akufo-Addo can say that because of the fact that VW has established a car assembling plant in Ghana, we should introduce such a bad law to destroy Ghanaian businesses, for the benefits of VW, who I'm even told per my checks are not manufacturing cars in this country. They bring manufactured cars into this country and assemble them, and they are not creating any jobs. So this is a bad law that we will repeal. And I know that those who are affected by this law are discerning and will not fall for this deceptive new position that President Akufo-Addo has adopted. Again, on pensions, before I come to Okada, we have indicated that when elected, we will
the chamber policy is 1 academic year. Does it go on or it will be reviewed?
1 academic year.
1 academic
One
year.
academic year. But we will review after the first year because you see, it's part of our post-COVID alleviation program, calculated to mitigate the socioeconomic impact of COVID-19 on Guineans. And so if after the first year, President Mahama sees that there is need for it to be extended, why not? We will do that to cushion parents and students. Under pensions, we have a plan to establish a pension scheme for the informal sector, where cocoa farmers, cashew farmers, fishermen, driver unions, organized unions in the informal sector, market women and all that, will benefit from. And we have indicated in the People's Manifesto that the Mahama government will be supporting any organized group who decides to join this pension scheme with an amount, of money. So that is one thing. Again, all pensioners will be paid an annual 13th month bonus every year. So you know that all pensioners receive monthly pensions. But what we are saying is that in December, when your 12th monthly pension is coming in, we will give you an extra one, which is what we are describing as the annual 13th month pension bonus. We will give it to all pensioners in this country. Again, we've indicated that we will amend the National Pensions Act to allow contributing workers who have contributed for 10 to 15 years to collateralize their contributions for mortgage loans so that they can acquire buildings and all that. You see, these are the transformational far-reaching policies contained in the People's Manifesto. On Okada.
Yeah.
That's
a latest on Okada, I'm sure you know.
I was, laughing when you were playing the Bawumia video.
Yeah.
You know what Bawumia said, was it today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
About their so-called superior alternative on the issue of legalization of Okada. It is laughable. Very, very laughable. It shows that this government has lost touch with the realities in this country. It shows that they don't even understand the problem we are talking about. Paul, the Okada riders who are excited by the promise of President Mahama to legalize Okada do not have, most of them, 99% of them do not have the wherewithal to buy vehicles.
But do they have Ghana card?
Is that?
Do they have Ghana card?
Some may have.
But that's important. It's not so much.
No, we are not talking about Ghana card, whether or not they can.
Well, Dr. Bawumia's process
but Dr. Bawumia is saying that they will lease vehicles to them.
Yes.
No wonder they have rejected it. Even the motorcycles, most of them are riding, are owned by other people.
Yes.
They ride it and they are paid.
Yes.
How do you expect these people to buy vehicles?
No,
so clearly shows you that
the policy that they are saying, I don't know, but whether you believe it
you
or
want
not.
To help them communicate their policies.
No, the policy they are saying is that they will lease the car to you and you work and pay.
So you will pay.
You work and pay. You pay out of the work.
My brother, this is the same Dr. Bawumia who in 2016 told the good people of this country that if Ghanaians vote for President Akufo-Addo and himself, no village or community in this country will have a water or toilet problem after 18 months. These are the people who promise one district, one market, one district, one hospital, one region, one theater, one village, one dam, and so on and so forth, which have all turned out to be pipe dreams. We know that they are dishonest, they are deceitful. They've come up. Why is it not even contained in their manifesto? They didn't even think about Okada drivers. When we spoke about the legalization of Okada in this country and Pragia, look at how they insulted John Dramani Mahama and Okada riders in this country. They describe them as a nuisance on our roads. Some of their communicators describe them as, accuse them as being responsible for robbery and thievery on our roads and all that. And today, because you want their votes, you have come up with this,
They say the accident record shows that a lot of accidents occur out of that.
When one vehicle gets an accident in this country, do you know the number of people who die?
No.
As I speak to you now in Kenya, they have introduced an Uber system for Okada.
But in Lagos,
Rwanda,
they banned it.
Of course.
Because they banned it.
Because they couldn't, we are learning from the right examples. We are not learning from Lagos. We are learning from Kenya and Rwanda. Rwanda, a country who generates, about 1 billion from the Okada business every year. That is the example we are learning from. What we are saying is that, Paul, look, check LI 2180. Check our road traffic regulations. It is legal in Ghana for a motor rider to carry another person on the motor. 2 people can sit on a motorcycle in Ghana. It is legal. So if you have a motorcycle, you can pick your wife, your brother, your friend, or anybody to anywhere you want, and that is legal. That is not risky. That is legal. But immediately you ask the person you are carrying to give you a small fare for fuel so that you can also get something small, of it. Then it becomes risky. Does it make sense? Then it becomes illegal. Does it make sense? Okay, so we are saying, why don't we regulate this enterprise? In any case, people are engaging in the business, even now that it is supposed to be illegal. Why don't you regulate it, make it safer? Provide them with the necessary gear that they need to wear.
The helmets and all that.
All that, okay. The number plates, the insurance policies and everything. And when it is legal, and they are not looking out for policemen, a few of them who extort monies from them and all that, then they will drive responsibly, conform with rules and regulations. If some of them breach the rules and regulations, they can be dealt with in accordance with our road traffic regulations, like we do with all. And wrapping up.
The football. I'm interested in that. You're going to pay footballers 1,500 cedis a month.
The 1,500 cedis was a figure I used, a hypothetical figure I used for an analysis.
Okay.
The bottom line is that we are going to pay not just football teams, okay, but other sports, activities. Okay, we are going to support them with funds from the from the Sports Development Fund that we are proposing to establish when elected. President Mahama is saying that this nation has a huge potential in sports, but we are not taking advantage of that. again, Ghana sports currently is in great difficulty as a result of COVID-19, which has led to the suspension of our football league. And even before that, the number 12 expose by his investigative journalist, Anazari Meyawanas. From our engagements with stakeholders in the sports sector, we realize that if something is not done urgently to cushion, Ghana sports, I don't want to restrict it to football, especially our Premier Leagues, most of them will collapse in the next 1 year. Because some of them, as we speak, are struggling to pay their players.
And the taxpayer must be responsible for that.
Why? Haven't we taken 600 million Ghana cedis from the stabilization fund to support SMEs as part of the post-COVID or the COVID alleviation program?
Yes.
Are the SMEs not private companies?
Yes, but they are providing employment, and they are
Don't
providing,
you know?
they are providing masks, and they are providing things that everybody benefits from.
As a member of this government, you should know
I'm not a member of the government.
As a member of this government, you are a member of this government. You should know that there are 500 players,
football players,
currently enrolled under the Youth Employment Authority, who are paid a monthly stipend of 500 Ghana cedis by the Akufo-Addo government. I'm not supposed to do this communication work for them, but this is free.
Yeah, but
free communication job.
Unfortunately,
the nephew of President Akufo-Addo, Adom-Otchere, doesn't know about this. What is the difference between that and
no,
what
you
we
are committing taxpayers' money to pay Asante Kotoko players and
but what is being used to pay 500 players now? Is that not taxpayers' money?
But where in other places?
Do you know the economic opportunities that we can generate from football?
Yes, tell me.
Do you know the things? Let me tell you
what
something.
is happening in the world is that football is being sold on television for people to pay 1 cedi to watch.
If we don't invest in that, how do you attract sponsorship for that?
Why don't you invest in that one and put football on television? Let Kotoko give. Let me, as a Kotoko fan, have the ability to pay 1 cedi to watch Kotoko on my TV.
That is provided
so that
for
if there are 100
manifesto.
million, if there are 500,000 of us who are watching Kotoko for 1 cedi, Kotoko gets 500,000 cedis that weekend.
In Ghana
That's
today,
what you should be doing. Take my taxes and pay the Kotoko player, and pay the Hearts player, Bofakwa player, Olympics player. Why do you want to do that?
The idea, you see, you are governments are any government worth its salt will support sports, the promotion of sports in this country, because of the economic opportunities associated with it.
Yes, if you do the electronic one, you are still supporting it.
No, because
we pay for English Premier League here in Ghana.
Hold on.
We watch it pay.
And that is why that is not the only thing we are promising. We are saying that we will establish a sports development fund backed by an act of parliament. The fund will have board of trustees, teams, sports clubs, or associations in need of financial assistance can among other things, apply for assistance. You will be supported. If you benefit from this fund, the condition is that if your player gets a foreign contract, you will pay a small token out of the transfer fees that you get as the team.
Back to the government.
Back, not to the government, to the Sports Development Fund. So the fund is a revolving fund, you understand? And the reason why we must have this deliberate, conscious effort towards sports promotion is because sports is the passion of the country. It puts food on the tables of thousands of young men.
But the way to do it is to
your opinion.
The technology. That's what is happening all over the world. It's not
Hold
my opinion.
on. We have spoken about providing tax incentives to sponsors or businesses to sponsor our local league. We have spoken about supporting inter-school competitions. We've spoken about so many things. Right now, they are in dire financial stress. Most of them will collapse in the next 1-2 years if nothing is done to support them.
If the league doesn't start.
Even if the league starts, some of them are virtually on their knees. They've not been operating for months. Okay, and it was as a result of that that we introduced
COVID-19 stimulus.
Yes, as a result of that,
So
that
we're
we
talking about a
introduced
stimulus
600
package.
We introduced 600 million to support SMEs.
So you are talking about
even though they are private-owned SMEs.
A stimulus for
today,
sports.
if you go to Tunisia, I'm told by my friends in the sports fraternity that Tunisia government is supporting local teams with thousands of dollars.
Yes, but
Nigeria is doing the same thing.
That's a stimulus.
Brazil is doing
paying the players per month.
It is all about financial assistance. That is what it's about. So that the
clubs.
teams will not go down. They can sustain the players. They can continue to pay them. Football can be attractive and all that. And the support we will be providing them will not just be remuneration. There will be other forms of support. And we are not just talking football. We are talking about the athletes. We are talking about the hockey teams. We are talking about all the other sports, activities we have in this country. You see, Paul, governance is all about priorities and choices. President Akufo-Addo prioritizes obesity, profligacy, wastage, corruption, and so on. You understand?
That's
the amount of money
Akufo-Addo certainly prioritized
which he has spent a paltry 3.2 billion on.
He prioritized
Hold on.
free SHS.
The amount of money,
1.2 million people.
The amount of money that government is paying to the nephew of President Akufo-Addo, Adom-Otchere, and his cronies,
no, this
under the Japa deal, under the Japa deal, can pay 22 players of our 18 Premier League clubs for a period of 2 years and over.
Well, but the Japa deal, they will tell you that government has a stake in it.
Just in wrapping up. Just wrapping up. Maternity and paternity leave.
Yes.
I know you've heard of that.
Yes, I heard of that.
We are extending maternity leave from 3 months to 4 months because you know that, our health professionals tell us women need minimum 6 months to breastfeed their newly born babies. Currently, they are giving only 3 months when they put to bed. We are increasing that by 1 month, okay? And we are also giving fathers 1 week paternity leave. So
1 week?
1 week.
Only?
So 7 days. Oh, so that they can support their wives when they
4
put
months
to bed.
to 1 week. I thought you give them a month.
Come on, that is fair. Again,
1 week.
Again,
Okay.
We have spoken about our promise to pay all customers of the collapsed financial institutions.
I think that's happened already.
Oh, they said it wasn't possible to do that in 1 year. Now they are saying they can do that in 2 months. We've done our checks and we know that there are still a lot of these customers who have not been paid. For example, customers of the collapsed fund management companies have not been paid. Men's good customers have not been paid.
I don't know whether men's good customers are part of it.
So, but we are saying that all of them deserve to be paid by government, because government, through its omissions and commissions, contributed to the lack of supervision by regulatory bodies, which led to the problems we have on our hands. And so that promise still stands. We have also spoken about a big push, which is going to be a $10 billion investment by the next NDC Mahama government, inshallah, in, infrastructure development to create jobs. And under this policy, the beautiful thing, Paul, is that only local contractors will be awarded contracts under the big push. Only local materials will be used, only local architects will be used, only local artisans will be used. This is part of President Mahama's vision, for strengthening indigenous businesses in this country. For under youth development, we've spoken about a separate ministry for youth development. We've spoken about a 1 million coders program where 1 million young people will be trained in coding and other ICT, models. We've also spoken about the establishment of the youth entrepreneurship development program to employ young people. We've spoken about the 2-year tax holiday for young startups. Any young person who establishes a business under the next NDC Mahama government will be given a 2-year tax holiday to promote their businesses. We've also spoken about the establishment of employment bureaus in all districts of the country. Finally, maybe I have teachers, health professionals, and security personnel to choose from. Security, we are maintaining cap 30 for all of them. We are going to fast track promotions, and we are going to give them an amnesty.
10 billion big push. What's the track record?
Our track record is simple. Between 2013 and 2016, President John Dramani Mahama, with the little resources he had, 193 billion Ghana cedis in 4 years, and just one oil field, the Jubilee fields, invested $6 billion in infrastructure development. And so now that we have 2 additional oil
generating
fields,
10 billion, that's what I mean.
Of course. I'm saying that between 2013 and 2016, we invested 6 billion. You understand? And so if at the time we had just one oil field and now we have 2 more, making it 3, and we tell you that we invest $10 billion in infrastructure, I don't think you should even ask a question about this, because clearly we have that record to show that we prioritize investments in infrastructure and other productive initiatives, contrary to the Akufo-Addo government. As opposed to the Akufo-Addo government, which invest in consumption-related expenditures, profligacy, and so on and so forth.
Well, somebody sends me a text that Sammy Gyamfi is talking about profligacy. The Auditor General said that President Mahama had paid RLG 14 million United States dollars before the 2012 election, What was that? Has that money been paid? Do you know?
Where's that report?
I don't know.
So once you can't vouch for it, you don't
but
read
you
it.
know it.
You don't read it. What I can tell you, what I can tell the texter is that President Mahama was called names. He was described as corrupt. Hold on. What I can tell you is that President Mahama was described by corrupt by President Akufo-Addo and the MPP. He was called names. He was called a thief and all that. President Akufo-Addo said that President Mahama had used $10 million for the printing of presidential diaries. President Akufo-Addo, then candidate Akufo-Addo, accused us, President Mahama, for inflating the cost of the rich hospital project.
They still say that.
Kaswa Interchange project and all that.
Saying that.
They promised to investigate all these things. Almost 4 years down the line, President Mahama remains squeaky clean. Not a scintilla of evidence of wrongdoing or corruption has been established against him by any investigations. The man has been deputy minister, he's been minister, he has been MP for 3 terms, he's been vice president. There hasn't been any finding against him because President Mahama is incorruptible. His reputation is squeaky clean. It is unassailable. You cannot say the same thing about your good friend President Akufo-Addo, who...
But how can you say something opposite about Akufo-Addo?
Oh, why? Because he was busted when he gave executive approval for the Ameri miscellaneous novation deal,
you blame for
the cost of which had been inflated by $800 million. That was a direct act of President Akufo-Addo. He gave that executive approval. So President Akufo-Addo is corrupt, and it is supported by indisputable documentary evidence. When we caught him pants down, he claimed that he was misled. Yet his cousin, who doubles as his executive secretary, who signed that executive approval on his behalf.
They sent me the guy has sent me the letter from the public procurement
my brother
about it. I'm just sending it to you.
You can send it to me for us to interrogate that. But what I'm saying is that
Facebook page
President Mahama still remains squeaky clean. So I was talking about our security services that we are maintaining Cap 30 for them. We are harmonizing salary disparities. We are fast-tracking promotions. We are giving all those who have undertaken Galamsey courses an amnesty. We are going to ensure that all of them are promoted. We are providing accommodation for them. We are establishing a University of Security and Intelligence and so many other things that time will not allow us to talk of. So, Paul,
I've sent you the
it's
documents
been good
from the
having this discussion.
Let me turn up my hourglass. It means that it's past 11.
Yeah.
That's what
the People's Manifesto is going to carry the day come 7
So
December 2020.
what kind of campaign would you be doing yourself? Are you joining President Mahama? Do you have a youth campaign that you are doing?
No, I'm not joining President Mahama.
Are you joining the running mate?
I mean, we've all been given... I mean, that's a matter of strategy. I don't need to share it
on television. No, you don't need to tell me the strategy. That you
but I've been on the field.
Yeah, you're going to be on the field.
I've been on the field. I'm going back on the field next week.
Is there no rallies thing affecting you? The COVID-19?
No, it's rather helping us. Okay. Because I don't think that rally type of campaigning was an effective way.
Maybe it's going to change campaign forever.
Yeah, it's a blessing in disguise if you ask me.
So you're going to have, how was Kumasi?
It's good going to the people in their communities, visiting every nook and cranny and taking your messages to them. That is how you're able to measure, you know, the reception that your messages receive from the people and whether or not, how you are faring in the campaign generally. Kumasi was great, thanks to the Otumfuo, the chiefs and people of Kumasi. We really appreciate them. The Breman here was there, the Achami here of the Offenso here was there. We had our Zongo chiefs, we had other bodies, the Okada drivers, the drivers unions, the farmer groups, and all the stakeholders who came.
So you're confident
it was a
Mahama
beautiful, successful program.
You're confident
we will be doing the next one either in the western or the central region. We plan to do another one in the Volta region for Volta and OT, and we'll be going to the northern part of the country for another one in the coming days.
You're confident President Mahama will win?
We are confident that Ghanaians will vote for humility, they will vote for honesty, they will vote for vision.
I've not heard that since 2008. Have you guys brought that into the campaign?
Doesn't President Mahama exude humility naturally? Is he not a unifier?
We want a leader who
is he not a nation fire? A nation builder? Is he not? I mean, he has a vision.
We want a leader who is going to create things for us. Humility,
he created Ezenbank.
What is humility?
President Akufo-Addo has not created anything.
It's the first time I'm hearing. 2008, you were talking about humility.
Hold on.
You stopped talking about it.
Humility. Paul, humility is an important virtue that every leader must have. Regardless of the ideas you have, if you are arrogant, you cannot lead effectively.
What's arrogant?
So it is.
What is arrogant?
So it is an important.
When a leader, when President Mahama says I'm a dead goat, that's not arrogance. A leader who tells his people I'm a dead goat, that's arrogance.
No,
that's the example of arrogance.
That is.
If you want us to talk about humility, a leader stands in front of people and say, "Look, I don't care what you say, I'm a dead goat." That's it.
It is inexcusable for a person like you to make this argument.
No, I'm saying that let's leave the humility thing.
You've had the benefit of legal education, and you know you've been taught contextual interpretation of words.
Yes.
What was the context within which he said that?
That's literature.
That is literature.
That's not law.
What was the context within which he said that? He was talking about pressures on his government for him to overrun his budget. He was talking about fiscal discipline. He was
talking about criticisms.
No, he was not talking about criticism. It was pressures from certain groups on him to pay certain amounts of money in an election year when we had committed not to overrun our budget. I'm just
saying that you don't need to mention humility. Let's
not discount the
2008 it was there.
Vision is important. President Mahama has that.
Is key.
Track record is important. President Mahama has that.
That's key.
But above all,
track record,
the virtues of God-fearing, humility, honesty, trustworthiness.
Trustworthiness is key.
That is what you cannot say about President Akufo-Addo.
Oh, you can't say that.
He has flattered to be
a man who said,
all his promises.
I will do free SHS, and he's done it.
And he said, you do one district, one hospital. One district, one market.
One district, one factory.
Yes, one district, one hospital.
Yes.
One district, one market. One region, one theater.
No, he said factory.
He said he would transform Nima into Villaggio. He said he would build 350 secondary schools.
I said that in 2019. Nima to Villaggio was said by the minister in 2019.
So when ministers speak, it cannot be taken as a position. When you were talking about...
Yeah, but that's not the manifesto. I'm talking about the man who says...
So let's talk manifesto.
When he's not in power, I will do this. And he's done it.
You are just talking about one promise.
No, that's one district, one factory has been done.
What about we will reduce the cost of doing business? We will achieve double-digit GDP. What about
GDP?
Yes,
you want to talk about
double
GDP?
digits. That's what they spoke about. Yes, let's talk about GDP.
So the point you are making is that GDP in 2016...
Today, the economy has contracted for the first time in 37 years as we speak today.
But you know why?
The economy is growing in the
negatives. But you know why?
Why?
What is the pre-COVID
Because of the economic mismanagement that he has supervised.
But pre-COVID economy was growing better than yours.
Cote d'Ivoire is growing above 2.5. Yeah, Rwanda is going above 3%.
But MPP NDC...
Uganda is going above 2.5.
Oh, but Ghana has been heavier
even in COVID.
But
who told you that? Cote d'Ivoire has also suffered
44,000. Look at
come
the
cases. Come on, you don't measure it. You
in
don't
terms
measure
of GDP, the
that.
data is not in your favor. I'm just looking at the data.
The economy,
GDP, what you left in 2016 and what 2017 and 18 became, it's not.
Paul, you need to check your facts again.
Oh, you mean the economy was growing better in
2016 the non-oil sector grew by
4.6%
4.6% in 2016.
Did I not say agric was reducing in negatives?
The only time agric grew in the negatives was in 2018 under President Kufuor, negative 1.7%. That's just for the records. 2008, sorry, 2008 under President Kufuor. Now, with regards, the manufacturing sector grew by 7.9% in 2016. Today is growing at 6.3%. Manufacturing.
Today, which year? 2020?
2019. Manufacturing. The financial sector grew by 8.1%. Today, it is growing by 1.7%.
The financial sector collapsed.
That is financial sector.
But that collapsed.
They claim to have cleaned it up. They claim that it's doing well.
No, it collapsed.
At the time it was said to have collapsed, it was growing at 8.4%.
No, before it collapsed.
It was going at 8.4%.
Before it collapsed.
In 2016, you claim. I mean, that's the irony.
Yeah, that's what they are
saying. Because the financial sector did not collapse under President Mahama. They rather collapsed it. That is why it's going at 1.7%.
Or they met a situation that...
My brother, you want facts about economic growth? Let's talk about that. I'm saying that in 2016, non-oil growth...
But you talk about context.
Non-oil
talk about contextual.
So non-oil growth was 4.6%. Show me whether Akufo-Addo has been able to do better.
I'm just putting
overall growth was 3.4%.
Okay.
This year, they are projecting to grow at 0.9%.
Oh, this year, we know why.
Construction sector.
Okay, so let's summarize. So the
let's
point
talk about the non-oil.
In terms of NDC and MPP, 2013 to 2016 and 2017 to 2019, GDP growth NDC is better. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
No problem. We'll check that.
Construction sector.
That's fine.
2016, the growth was 8.4%. 2019, negative 4.4%. Manufacturing has declined from 7.9 to 6.9.
No, you've answered the question. We'll just check that. So
Fishing, we'll check 3.1 to 1.7.
So we'll check GDP.
Check all the GDP. Didn't check the non-oil sector.
No, GDP from 2013-16 and then 17-18.
And speaking about COVID, let me tell you something. Dumso led to a negative 15.6 growth negative 15.6 growth
in energy,
in the oil and gas sector for 2016 alone. Dumso and the problem we had with the tariff bearing of FPSO in Nkrumah. Those two problems. Yet we grew the economy overall by 3.4%.
But who was what? Whose
now
problem
hold on.
Was Dumso?
Hold on. Now in COVID, the oil and gas sector has only declined or contracted by negative 7.6%, far lower than the shock the economy, took in 2016 as a result of Dumso, and I mean not even Dumso, the problem we had with the tariff bearing largely because for the greater part of 2016 there was no oil drilling. The lights were on, but there was no oil drilling activity due to that technical problem we had with that. Yet we grew at 3.4. Were you not in this country when Dr. Bawumia equated Dumso to COVID-19? If in the midst,
but this is what then I ask you,
Sammy, in the midst of
with this kind of grand record, you lost the heaviest election in the Fourth Republic, the biggest defeat.
President Kufuor.
Yes, it's shocking with the grand record that you tell us.
Let me give you an answer.
NDC's defeat is the heaviest.
Let me give you an answer. Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes.
Who is celebrated as the foremost African personality of the millennium.
Yes, correct.
Was overthrown in a coup d'etat.
Yeah, forcibly overthrown in a coup d'etat.
And there was wild jubilations and celebrations across the country when he was overthrown.
I don't know whether I was across.
He was demonized and bastardized.
He was demonized and bastardized.
His effigies were banned in this country.
Yes, what's the point?
Today, he is a hero, celebrated across the world as the foremost African
Ali Mazrui
of the
does
century.
not agree with you.
Exactly.
Ali Mazrui does not agree with you.
And
Professor Ali Mazrui is somebody to be taken serious.
So Ali Mazrui globally he's been adjudged. Yes, globally he's been adjudged.
So Ali Mazrui says in Nkrumah, if he's being judged as an
African,
correct. Ali Mazuri's point is that and this is his thesis, Professor Ali Mazrui.
So that's his
thesis. He says he's very well respected by.
Of course, and I respect that as well.
If Nkrumah is being judged as an African, he's number 1. If he's being judged as Ghanaian, he's number 0. This is Ali Mazrui.
So you need to look at that
today. You need to look at that in another context.
Even in Ghana today.
Yeah. Ali Mazrui said that.
Nkrumah still lives on. His record is there for all to see. But at some point in time, he was bastardized and demonized.
But Ali Mazrui thinks that even today, Nkrumah as a Ghanaian is 0. Nkrumah as an African is great.
You go around the country today, and Ghanaians will tell you, some of them gnash their teeth in regret that we have missed John Mahama. We were deceived by the lies packaged as juicy promises, lofty promises by President Akufo-Addo and the MPP. Now we've seen the light. A lot of things are attributed to our defeat, the 8-year election cycle, and so many other things.
We are still in the 8-year election cycle.
It is said that...
Are we not still in the 8-year election cycle?
It is said that vindication is in the womb of time. Absolutely. President Mahama has been judged well, very favorably by posterity. And that is why today, no matter the sector you look at, his legacy lives on. His legacy is palpable. You can see it and you can enjoy the benefits of seeing.
That's Sammy Gyamfi, always an interesting person to talk to. Very articulate young man, lawyer.
Me here to 11 something.
For the NDC. And we wish him luck. And drive safe when you are driving around.
Thank you.
And be safe.
Thank you.
Hopefully we will call you on December 8th and you
congratulate us.
You will have good news for us.
Yes, I will. I'll have good news for you.
Viewers, sorry for keeping you for this long time. Thanks for watching Good Evening Ghana and good night.
People still